A man crashes his Tesla Cybertruck into a ditch and the truck bursts into flames. But it's not the crash that kills him, it's the fact that he couldn't get out. Now, Tesla's being sued, and while some of the claims are serious, others are a bit wild. You found Stashed. I'm Pat, firefighter and automotive engineer researching EV batteries since 2018. Back in 2024, I covered this tragic story of Michael Sheeham. He's a man from Baytown, Texas, and he died after his Cybertruck crashed and caught on fire. Now his family, they've filed a wrongful death lawsuit, and it's raising serious questions about the design of the vehicle, especially the door handles. This is an area I have great concern, and I've done a few different videos on electric door handles. If you'd like to see those videos, check out the description below. But overall, yes, I know the front doors in a Tesla have a manual release, and a lot of the rear doors do as well. But is that enough? Here's what we know. On August 5th, 2024, Michael veered off the road and hit a concrete culvert. The Cybertruck flipped, it went into a ditch, and the high voltage battery was damaged during the crash. Since batteries really don't like that type of abuse, the vehicle burst into flames, and it would have happened extremely fast. Now, according to the lawsuit, the crash was serious, but it was survivable. Apparently, Michael wasn't killed on impact. He was alive and trapped inside while that truck burned. My personal opinion, we'll likely never know what really happened inside that vehicle. He could have been struggling to get out, or he might have been unconscious, either from the crash or something that happened before the crash. Because also named in that lawsuit was a bar where Michael was drinking earlier that night. The lawsuit claims he was overserved, and that might be an explanation for the crash, but it might also be another reason why he couldn't get out. The Cybertruck doesn't have traditional door handles, mechanical door handles. The exterior handles are flush and they're electric. So if the truck loses power, the 12-volt power, they stop working. You can't open the door from the outside. And on the inside, there's a manual release. Personally, I find it intuitive, but not everybody agrees. Some people say it's not that easy to find, especially if they're in a panic. And that's the thing. In an emergency, people don't think clearly. It comes down to muscle memory. If you didn't plan for your vehicle to go off-roading, and now there's smoke and fire in the cabin, it might be upside down, your ability to process that and react, it goes out the window. In this case, it also seems like he was intoxicated, which just adds one more layer to the disaster. One failure stacks on top of another until escape becomes nearly impossible. Tesla's had this issue before. We've seen stories in the past, other lawsuits of people getting trapped because of that electronic latch system. There's even one story where a Tesla began filling up with smoke and the driver ended up kicking out the window to escape. I did a video on that in the past, but it was all because he didn't realize there was a manual release right next to him. That's the kind of thing that shouldn't happen, but when you rely on power to open your doors and you don't clearly communicate the backup plan, it does. And I do want to point out something else. A lot of people carry these special tools, these window punches to break out a window. That's not going to work on a Tesla. A lot of newer vehicles, that's not going to work. That's because newer vehicles have gone to laminated side windows, something that's been popping up a lot more frequently in the last few years. And here's something else that worries me. While this incident involved the front seat, I've seen plenty of Teslas where the rear seats don't have any obvious manual release at all, or it doesn't exist at all. People in my comments love to argue that every single Tesla has one, but I can tell you from firsthand experience, they don't. Take a look at the video I've linked in the description. In one case, I actually had to remove the entire inner door panel from the rear seat just to find the mechanism. And even then, I didn't actually see that release until I went back and reviewed the footage while I was editing the video. That's how hidden it was. This isn't about nitpicking, it's about survivability. If you're in the back seat during a fire with a power failure and you have to start disassembling the door just to get out, you're not getting out. Now, the lawsuit also says the fire reached 5,000 degrees and that Michael's bones were completely destroyed in the fire. I've got to push back on that a little bit. First off, 5,000 degrees? Are we talking Fahrenheit or Celsius? Because there's a bit of a difference there. Either way, I don't think people appreciate how hot that actually is. That's hotter than most metal foundries. I used to work with automotive ceramics, specifically spark plugs. Alumina oxide is incredibly durable at high temperatures. We sinter it right around 1,500 degrees Celsius. That's about 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, technically, Aluminum oxide has a boiling point somewhere around 3,000 degrees Celsius or 5,400 degrees Fahrenheit. Not that you're actually able to boil a ceramic. So no, that kind of temperature, it's just not realistic for a vehicle fire. Even a battery fire. Lithium ion fires are absolutely intense, but it's the heat release rate, not the temperature. Usually we're seeing temperatures right around 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 1,000 degrees Celsius. As for the bones, they mentioned thermal fracture and destruction, which can happen in fires, but it's not unique to EVs. Any vehicle fire, gas, hybrid, or electric, can burn hot enough to spall bones, especially in areas with direct flame contact. Spalling can start right around 600 degrees Fahrenheit, and bones become brittle and start to fragment right around 1,000 degrees, 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not a Cybertruck problem. That's a fire problem. But the core of the issue, the one that matters, it's deadly serious. We're talking about vehicles designed without mechanical fail-safes on the outside. A fail-safe on the inside that the occupant likely didn't know was available. And the person inside, they couldn't get out. This isn't about Tesla or Cybertrucks. This is about any vehicle that puts form and tech over life safety. If your design depends on battery power to open the door, you've got a problem. We're going to see how this plays out in court, but one thing is clear. If your vehicle catches on fire, you should never need an owner's manual to escape, especially when that owner manual lives electronically on the infotainment system. It makes it a little difficult. And as more automakers shift towards electronic latches, the industry better start paying attention to the risks.